So, Fenrir. Now, I was obviously re-listening to that, studying up Fenrir, and I thought that, okay, well, there's actually different mythos. It turns out my theory of Fenrir was indirectly mentioned in older myths, where he wants to take out Tyr at Ragnarok. Tyr is the god of, there's different, they say he's the god of war on the YouTube and stuff, but actually Tyr was the god of war. What was Tyr the god of, actually? But, that in the myths before they changed it, I was going to say the original myths, but the thing is this: if these were the ones before they changed it, then who's to say they were the original? But the wolf was getting so big and so huge, that's why they were binding him, right? But in the newer ones, they said they knew that the wolf was evil, and because the wolf was evil and he was so huge, they bound him. But in the older ones, before that one, is it going? Yeah, it's going. Yeah, it's going. But in the older ones, before that one, it was just because he was so huge. There's no mention of him being evil. But they bound him and they chained him up and they left him out there because and then they grew mystical powers and they got these other mystical powers to keep on strengthening the chains so that the chains could never be broken. But Tyr was the god that had some mercy on him in a way that he didn't let him free, he didn't do this and that, but he used to go there and feed him, right? That he used to go take food out and feed the big wolf because he had some form of remorse for what the gods were doing to him. The Fenrir continued to grow and grow and grow, and the gods became more and more concerned. So they had to come up with more tricks to keep him ensnared, keep him bound in chains. And they could see that the aggression in him was getting more and more. Now, take note, at the beginning of the myth, there's no mention of him being evil, just big. What was it? Reason why there's something that the gods made a deal. They're making a deal with the wolf. That's it's metaphorical. Made a deal with this the Fenrir. That, basically you don't have to worry. Everything's all good. I forgot what the deal was, but Fenrir was Loki's son, so Loki had a wolf for a son, and Loki was Odin's brother. So Loki didn't. Loki could tell that Odin was lying. So he. Oh, that's the other myth. Yeah. Oh no, it's the same one. And then so he didn't buy into it, and so they got Tyr, the god who was always feeding the wolf. 5 minutes ago. Anyhow, he was always feeding the wolf. So he decided that because Fenrir wanted them to show their trust in Fenrir by putting their hand in Fenrir's mouth. Now, Tyr was the god who decided to put his hand in because nobody else would. Nobody else wanted to put their hand in Fenrir's mouth as a sign of trust, that they trust Fenrir. And so Tyr did. But then that's when the chains got more stronger. And that's when the chains they had some more chains on? Did they had some more chains on, or was this before they added the chains on? Anyway, the chains were placed on. And that's when Tyr, that's when Fenrir realized that he had been betrayed. So he bit off Tyr's hand. And then, he was tussling with the chains, and then, again, more metaphor, the gods pried open his mouth, and then stuck a sword up through it, right? Stuck a sword up, then another sword that way, like a cross, like the equinox. It's a metaphor for the equinox, winter solstice and all that type of thing. And he stays bound. He stays bound until Ragnarok. And in the myths before they changed it, whether it's original or not, it was bound, and he is destined to kill Tyr. But in the new myths, he's destined to kill Odin. Not because Odin put his hand in, but Odin was the All-Father of the gods. So before he, without his approval, without his, he's the puppet master in Fenrir's mind in the new myths, the ones that got written hundreds of years later, the more modern ones from like a few hundred years ago. And so they changed it to he became, he's destined, and it's going to happen, and it does happen in the book. And Ragnarok comes. He sees Odin as like this puppet master, and he kills Odin. But the reasons why he is bound in the first place on the second, load of myths, like the more modern ones, is not because of his sheer size, but the gods determined and saw that he was evil in nature, right? But before then, when it was Tyr the one he was going to kill at Ragnarok, the reasons why the gods bound him is not because he was evil. They didn't see evil in him, but he was just so big and strong. So, how does that apply? Well, if it's, those who are oppressed, a lot of people, that are oppressed and stuff. My father used to say, everyone starts off nice when they're kids, and they grow up to be assholes when they're adults. And I'm like, I don't like that next bit. But the thing is just airing out my bats. The thing is those who are under oppression will get angry by nature, but the anger is self-defense and standing up for themselves. Or if they weren't going through all that stuff in the first place, they wouldn't be angry in the first place, right? But then if they're just naturally evil, that's another thing.